everyone, welcome to week 2. In week 2 we're going to be looking at supply and demand, which is a very important concept because in supply and demand it's basis of many of the prices that you see and what is being priced in the market and how prices are being determined as well. When we look at this week, you're going to be focused on a couple different key things. The first thing we're going to look at is the circular flow model. The circular flow model is going to be a model that's trying to find a way to relate both households and firms together. And those households and firms interact in two different markets: the product market or the factor market. And it's an interesting model because what it's trying to illustrate is the difference of how the firms and the households interact. For example, if households sell their services to firms, they get wages for those, and in turn they use those wages to buy stuff in the other market that firms supply. So that's one of the models you're going to be looking at. And you'll see there's an interesting diagram on figure 3.1 to assist with the circular flow diagram. The next thing we're going to be looking at is demand and supply. The first thing we're going to be focused on is demand. What is demand? What it's trying to relate. And demand is looking at buyers, while supply is looking at sellers. So when we try to look at demand, we're trying to base it on demand's looking at many different factors. And the factors of demand are future expectations, income, price of related goods, and taste and expectations. Those are the key things that you're looking at with demand. Now when you look at supply, and also figure 3.2 will be a good illustration of a demand curve and looking at the law of demand. And you'll notice the law of demand is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. And you can relate it to yourself very easily. I'm going to buy more at lower prices than I am at higher prices, which is what the table and the figure will illustrate. Now the next thing you have to bring about is looking at supply. Supply is dealing with sellers, and there's some main factors with supply. When we look at supply, you're going to be looking at expectations, input prices, number of sellers, and technology. Those factors will influence the supply and the direction that the supply curve will actually take. So when you look at all those, when you bring supply and demand together, you're going to interact in what's called a market. A market is looking at very important analysis of how prices are determined. So you're going to look at factors that shift demand, factors that shift supply, and what is the end result of those factors shifting? Will it cause higher prices, lower prices? What will happen with the output? Those are some of the things that you're going to be looking at with supply and demand. Now, the next thing you're going to be looking at is in about figure 3.9, which is looking at equilibrium, a shortage, and a surplus. When you look at an equilibrium is where buyers and sellers agree upon the price. A shortage is when there is excess demand. Basically, there's more demand than supply. And if there's a shortage, you'll find that the prices are actually too low, so we need to raise the price. But then on the flip side, there's going to be excess supply, where supply is greater than demand. If supply is greater than demand, there's a surplus. If there's a surplus of the product, maybe the price is too high. If the price is too high, best thing to do is lower the price. But you'll notice the prices are always flexible, and they'll always adjust to what we're looking at. For this week, you're going to have your normal assignment, which will be due by Sunday night, and your discussion board work. You need to have that first post in by Thursday and 2 peer responses by Sunday night. Make sure with your initial post that you're trying to use economic terms from the course that you're relating, and try to make sure to use any citations if you have outside sources. If you have any questions, please let me know, but I look forward to your effort this week.